any specific questions?
No, I will explain. It will more or less cover all, and then you can pick any name. I will explain general because it's all centered around stress.
Alright, okay.
Okay. The word stress, it is not a bad word. It's a good word because to start off with, stress is not something which is negative. Let's say you are studying, right? The beginning of the year. Let's say SPM. In January, February, you're very relaxed. But when June, July, August comes around, you start getting butterflies in the stomach. You may get some. You may get a bit of anxiety. You may get palpitation, and then but because you have that anxiety, all right, then you actually start studying. Correct?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so stress is not negative. Now it's like this. This is a chart like this. All right. This is performance. Sorry, this is stress. This is the y-axis. X-axis is performance. Okay, when stress increases, your performance increase. Stress increases, performance increase. It goes all the way up. Now it comes to a certain point in time where everyone it varies individually. All right, not everyone has the same optimal stress level. A perfect example of someone who can handle so much stress is you look at a prime minister.
Yes.
He's 94. All right, so nothing can be more stressful than being a prime minister. Period. Okay, so we all have an optimal stress level. It's called optimal stress level. All right. Once you cross this, then you start to decompensate. Now, when you that means stress is good to begin with.
Right.
So, to correct the notion that people say, "Oh, I'm stressed," it becomes like a negative word. It becomes it just becomes an English word.
Yes.
It's no longer a medical term. So that's
True.
not correct. But this is important. You don't have this, there's no motivation. Stress, there must be stress for you to have motivation. If there's no motivation, you're not going to do anything. The basic fundamental thing about humans is they must have a motivation. Motivation gives you purpose and meaning in life. Correct?
True.
Okay. So when you break down, okay, then the layman's term is, oh, I got a nervous breakdown, meltdown. These are all layman's terms. They are not medical terms. So you either get a physical illness or you can get a psychological illness. Alright? So physical illnesses, most of the illnesses we have nowadays, they are all stress related. That means stress either precipitated or stress predisposed or aggravated the illness in that particular person. It's very simple. You look at people now compared to mine, I'm 61.
Okay.
You look at younger people now coming into the hospitals with strokes and heart attacks in their early 20s.
Yeah. True.
Alright? Which when I started working, I started working in 1983. Those days when someone comes with a stroke or heart attack illness, it will be a pakcik uncle who was in the 50s or 60s. Now you get people in their 20s. Why? They don't exercise. They are generally already obese, sedentary lifestyle. They smoke. They eat unhealthy. Right? So they are predisposed. Right? So all kinds of physical illnesses you can get, which are precipitated, predisposed, or aggravated by stress.
I see.
Basically, a lot to do nowadays because of their lifestyle.
Alright.
Unhealthy lifestyle habits, right? Then you can also get a breakdown. You get psychological. Now, under psychological is depression and anxiety. Right? In bahasa Malaysia it's called kemurungan. In anxiety is called. In bahasa Malaysia it's called kecederaan keresahan. Now, I give this questionnaire. Sorry, you guys, if you want, you take my email after. I will send you a soft copy. All right? I don't have enough copies here.
Alright.
Okay. Now, you see this? So, that's why I said earlier, when you're stressed, psychological problems is anxiety. Anxiety can get what you call panic attacks. So they're all physical symptoms. So a lot of patients, when they get anxiety or panic attacks, right? Okay, to answer the question, one of the questions, they will see different doctors for all kinds of physical symptoms. They get palpitations. Okay, palpitations is the heart is pounding very fast. Of course, if you're a layman, your heart is beating very fast. Your first thing is, oh, heart attack, heart problem. You see a cardiologist. So they will do all the investigation. They find out that the heart is not the problem. It's the mind. The mind is stressed.
Okay.
So that's anxiety. Hence, there are so many other physical symptoms. Now, anxiety is not treated. It goes on to the second one. That's depression. So this is list of symptoms. What are the symptoms of depression? Symptom anxiety. There are more than this now. Okay, so this actually is a validated screening instrument for anxiety and depression. There are many. This is one of them, which I use. All right, keep this.
Thank
Now,
you.
basic psychology is the way that you think results in the way that you feel, results in the way that you behave. All right, and the way you think also affects your body. So your mind is full of stressful thoughts. If your mind is full of okay, some people, they're overthinkers. They'll start, what if this, what happened, what if that. What,
Yeah.
I'm sure you got friends among you who are like that. They overthink, what if, what if, what if, what if. We call it the what if scenario. So if you have a what if, what if, what if, what emotion we generate, you get anxiety. Because if you get what ifs, you get anxiety, right? Emotions come from your thoughts. Now, then it goes into, they have a lot of negative thoughts, or the end the world, you know, I can't do this, I'm going to die, you know, I'm going to fail. Then you get sadness. If it goes on long enough, it goes into depression, which is that one, the second page. Alright? Then if you get angry thoughts, you get anger. So all your emotions come from thoughts. Okay, one of them mentioned OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. I presume that he's got concern. It's one of the illnesses under anxiety disorder. No? They have obsessions and compulsions. They tend to clean their hands many times, spend half an hour in the bathroom, and they have obsessive thoughts. They go on and on and on. Okay? Alright. What else? So far, are you following?
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, now, so when you're stressed, thoughts, you get body symptoms. Which is a longer list than that one.
Oh, okay.
So when you get a lot of physical, I'm sure most of you, when you're stressed, you had headaches, you had migraines, you had stomach upset, right? So that's triggered by your mind. Okay, that's one. Okay. All right. This one here is, now there are certain thought patterns that generate all this. Okay. Now you go back and look at it. This is called cognitive distortion. Cognitive comes the word cognition, the way you think. Now these are the one in block letters. You can go back and look at it afterwards. The one in block letters are the type of thought patterns that generate anxiety, that generate sadness, depression, that generate anger. For example, so people who are anxious or depressed, they have this kind of thought patterns. Okay? One of them is called, okay, if you call among your friends, there are some of what you call, they do catastrophic thinking. They always imagine the worst thing happening. Can you look at anyone like that? Okay.
Yes.
It's calling, it's said, you say it's imagining worst case scenario. So they always, something happen, oh, it's the end of the world. A small thing happen, it's the end of the world. My life is a gone case. You only 17, how old were you?
19 this year.
19, or end of the world. You're only 19 years old. So if you go on thinking, so if you keep on having catastrophic thinking, you always be anxious and depressed. Correct? Because your thoughts generate the emotion. Okay. Mental filter means like, okay, there's some people who 3 good things happen in a day, one event is negative, they focus on the negative event. As if all the positive events didn't happen. So these are the kind of thought patterns that generate this. Okay. Now this is the Bahasa Malaysia version. Okay, let's see. Let me look at this. What are the do's and don'ts for someone who has a close friend who suffers from mental illness? I mean, number one, you cannot diagnose. You tell them to take them to see the proper specialist or doctor.
Okay.
Right? That's the only thing you can do. You have to tell them to do that. Okay, but the stigma in Malaysia, in this country, there's another question there also. That stigma is something that we can't erase from society. It's still like that. Now, to put things in perspective, depression now is the second leading cause of morbidity in the world. It's number 2 problem in the world now. Every country, at least 30% has got mental illness. That includes Malaysia. Anxiety, depression is very high up in the list of illnesses, the one I gave you. Okay? You go to any country, even developed countries, 1 in 3, 1 in 4 has got mental illness. Again, to put things in perspective, most people stigma. The moment they hear mental illness, they think people are crazy who hear voices. Alright, who talk to themselves. No. Mental illness is a spectrum. The ones who talk to themselves, who have paranoid delusion, who say, oh, my neighbors are spying on me, I can hear voices, so on and so forth. That's only less than maybe 1 to 1.5% of all mental illnesses come into that category. That means they are psychotic. Maksudnya tak waras.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
But 99% of all mental illnesses got nothing to do with psychosis. It's all the depression, anxiety, stress and all that. To get that clear. But in Malaysia, they lump together. The moment you see a psychiatrist, they say, oh yeah, you're crazy. Why you go and see a psychiatrist?
Mention stigma.
Now, but less than 1% is psychotic illnesses. In fact, in the private sector, I spend almost all my time looking at the 99%. Psychotic patients, most of them I will send to the government hospital. So I actually see, you know the term bread and butter? You know what you mean bread and butter? Bread and butter means the norm in psychiatry. The bread and butter of psychiatry is the 99%, not the 1%.
Oh, okay.
So I spend most of my time looking at depression, anxiety and stress. Alright?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Does nutritional intake take part in maintaining a healthy mental health? Okay, number one, health, there are 4 components. It's not just physical health. There's physical health, mental health, emotional health, and there's a 4th component, it's very important, it's called spiritual health.
Spiritual health.
Okay. So there's IQ, there's EQ, and there's also SQ, spiritual quotient. Spirituality is very important in our lives, especially in the current day world. But spirituality is something which is a very person to order. It's not something you can lecture to someone. Some people may not like it. Alright? So does nutritional intake take part in maintaining? Yeah, of course. Nutrition is important for all. Okay, and then aspects of the 4 components. If you're not eating well, your emotional health gets affected, your physical health gets affected, your mental health gets affected. Right? Okay. How do you usually cope with stress? Okay, we do that later. Mental illness is a taboo topic? Yes, correct. What are the ways to lessen the stigma in our Malaysian society? Well, be aware. Be aware, educate yourself, get the proper facts. Not saying that mental illness means you're crazy. Not saying that mental illness, don't see a psychiatrist, you know.
Automatically.
So the stigma is the individual in the society. Don't be carried away by negative perception. That's the only thing you have to educate yourself, be aware. Right? In Malaysia, in KL, there are certain organizations that has come up that are trying to promote better mental health awareness. I think it's called MISA or something.
Oh, okay.
You can look up. I can't remember the exact name. Alright. To avoid burnout, okay, that comes under this one. How to be happy constantly? That doesn't exist. There's no such thing. Okay. Firstly, the word happiness and inner contentment. Happiness is very superficial. When you say I want to be happy, that's going to be very difficult because happiness means it's tied to something external. I have a big car, I'm happy. I got a wife or husband, I'm happy. I got a girlfriend, boyfriend, I'm happy. I got straight A's, myself, I'm happy. So it's tied to something external. So if something happens to that thing, are you going to be unhappy? So what you should be striving for is not happiness, it's inner contentment. Correct?
Yeah.
So that's tied up to spirituality. So that should be a target, not happiness. In the first place, okay, there's such a thing called Happiness Institute in the Western world. But there are more suicides in the Western world than in the Eastern world. Denmark is supposed to be the 3rd happiest country in the world, but in Finland, they have everything there. They have all the materialism, but there's high suicide rates. Why? So happiness is very subjective. Right? Inner contentment is yours. Happiness is subjective because it's tied up to something. If that something is taken away, you're going to be unhappy. Okay.
True.
What is the best way to overcome stress? Okay, that's from the stress management. How to cope with stress? Okay, the same question. What are the areas of your life where stress take place more often? Okay. What are the areas of your life where stress situations take place more often? Work, family, relationship with friends, while commuting to work. It depends on the individual. Different people experience more stress in different areas of their life. Some people experience more stress at work, but they're happy with their family. Alright. While commuting to work, it depends. If you live 5 minutes away from your workplace, you got no stress with commuting to work.
True.
So it depends on your circumstances. Family. If your family is well balanced with good positive dynamics in the family, there's going to be no stress. So if the family has got unhealthy dynamics in the family, call it pathological relationship in the family, there'll be more stress. So that depends on the individual circumstances, right?
Right.
Okay. Is OCD harmful? Depends on what you mean by harmful. It's not harmful in the sense that, okay, those who have OCD, they are more prone to depression. Harmful could be in terms of their, yes, it can be to the, depends the degree of the OCD. It can be harmful, it can affect your mental health, it can affect your emotional health, it can affect your physical health. It can affect you from going to work. You spend 5 hours in the bathroom bathing and you can't go to work. Yes, then it will affect you, it's harmful. It can be harmful if they can go to severe depression, they can be suicidal, then they can be harmful to themselves. Okay? OCD can be harmful also because then they practice unhealthy eating habits. And they have unhealthy lifestyle habits. Right? So in that way harmful, so harmful in that sense. So it can be harmful in terms of immediate health or harmful in terms of even things like suicide and other stress related factors. Okay? How should students who suspect that they have mental illness tell they are not so open-minded parents of the condition? So if you get proper medical attention, I don't know whether in you have counselors, right?
We do have a counselor.
Okay, then see your counselor. Immediate see counselor. Number 1, see counselor. Number 2, maybe talk to your close friends. Number 3, speak to elders in the family whom you think who you are close to. That means you have to go in a roundabout way. Okay, but the important thing is you must get help. Just because your parents are not open-minded doesn't mean you just keep quiet and suffer.
True.
Right? Okay. Now all this here is all about how to deal with stress. Right? So it's not meant to be a lecture on stress management, but I will speak on the general principle and I give this paper to you. Alright? Alright. Number 1, okay, if you do when you talk about handling stress, it must be an ongoing thing. It's not like today I handle stress, tomorrow I don't handle stress. In other words, the idea of stress management means you build up your resilience, kecekalan. Okay, resilience means what? Mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. Okay, all the things that I'm going to mention now, they are all medications. Because most of you will think the moment you hear the word medication, you think of pills and tablets, correct? Or injections. Alright. Now medication is way beyond those things. Now hospitals invest in sickness. They make money when you fall sick. That means physically. Because the general thing in your head is people say they are sick means physical.
True.
So if you don't fall sick, the hospital don't make money. But if you go to a more developed country, they invest in wellness. Like in Amsterdam, every cycle. They don't drive a car.
True, right?
Okay? They go for meditation classes. They go to the ashrams in India. They eat healthy. They focus on meaning and purpose in life, not just getting a job. Okay. Number 1, okay, first medication, stress management, regular exercise. No two ways about it. It's a no-brainer. I tell all my Muslim patients, exercise is part of your fardu ain. It cannot be fardu kifayah. Nobody can exercise for you. Okay? You have to exercise. I mean, there's no two ways about it. You don't use it, you lose it. That includes your, when I say exercise, I mean include your mind. If you don't use it, you lose it. You don't exercise your heart, you don't exercise your limbs, you lose it. Alright? Exercise composed of 2 components. One is cardiovascular, which is you choose among 5. Jogging, cycling, brisk walking, swimming, dancing. And within dancing, you can include kickboxing, things like that. Alright? So that's cardiovascular. Then the other part is strength coordination, reflexes. Okay, I'll mention this later. So 2 components.
Right.
But if you just do cardiovascular, good enough. Alright? Now, how much exercise is good enough? Very simple. It's a formula. Remember the magic number 220 minus your age.
Okay.
Do any of you wear Fitbit watches? You're not that health conscious.
I'm not.
Okay. Okay. 220 minus your age, you get a number called X. And okay, whatever your age, you get X.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take easy number 20 lah.
That's fine.
200. Okay. So when you exercise, you need to achieve about 80% of your 200 is how much? 160. Okay. So when you exercise, when you count your heart rate, it should be around 140 to 160. That is your target heart rate. If you achieve this target heart rate, okay, about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, that's considered adequate exercise.
Okay.
Alright, clear about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, you don't suddenly just go and run for 1 hour. You have to
True.
build up. You start with brisk
Yes.
walking, then you go light jogging, you know. But this is just an expected kind of thing. This is a formula. Alright. Number 2, doesn't mean it's like spirituality, because in life you never always get what you want, right? So
Yes.
there, when you practice spirituality, there is acceptance. You learn to let go. I know a lot of times you don't let go of your stuff, alright? You learn to forgive self and others. A lot of things we keep a lot of grudges, we keep a lot of pain and anger, and who gets hurt? Not the other person. Who gets hurt?
It's yourself.
Yeah, because that's poison.
Mm.
Alright? So the word forgive is very simple. It consists of 2 words, for and give. Are you willing to give up all your anger, your frustration for peace of mind? So all I'm going to mention now is all healing from within. This is promoting wellness, so that you don't go into sickness. So that if you do this, even you go to sickness, you are better able to handle that sickness compared to someone who doesn't do this. Alright?
Right.
Number 3, meditation. Meditation can be spiritual. Okay? Example, when you do zikir, it's very important. Right, you know Surah An-Nas, right?
Yes.
Okay. I seek refuge in Allah from the evil of the whisperer. Iblis and Shaitan, who whispers into the breast of mankind and withdraws his whispering when one remembers Allah. Remembrance is zikir. Okay? Spiritual, okay, that is what we call structured meditation. Now, structured meditation, okay, have you heard yoga?
Yes.
Okay, have you heard Tai Chi?
Yeah.
Okay, there's another one, maybe you know, it's called Qigong. Have you heard Qigong? Q-I? Qigong, you ever heard of it? It's something like Tai Chi and all that, right? Okay. Anyway, to tell you, the promoter of one of the biggest proponent on supporter or who talks a lot about Qigong, who writes article in the Sunday Star, is a Malay doctor, not Chinese. His name Dr. You can Google his name. Dr. Amir, he's actually a gynecologist.
Oh.
He lectures and teaches Qigong.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's number 3. The principle of look and do, see and do. A picture is worth a correct. So if you look at the picture and you follow, you'll be able to do it. So what I suggest is, okay, you got smart TVs at home. There is an app called Screen Mirror on the TV. Your phone also has got Screen Mirror. Have you noticed this? Something called you look at you if you go down. Where is it? Okay, here is called wireless projection. You get the picture on the YouTube on the phone, project to the TV. Look, because it's a bigger
Yeah.
screen, right?
Yes.
You look and do. Then you'll be able to do it. Very simple. I suggest you do the breathing. Very, very useful.
Right.
Because when you focus on the breathing, you're not focusing on the thought. Because the thoughts are the one that generate all your toxic thoughts. Correct?
Yes.
Remember just now? Think, feel, behave.
Yeah.
The way you think results in the way you feel. So sometimes when you want to debate your thoughts, you lose. You go in a you go in circular, you call it circular thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So instead of focusing on the thinking, do something else so that you relax.
Okay.
Okay. If you try to debate your especially people who are very anxious, people who are overthinkers, people who are always very obsessive, they go on and on with their thoughts. And they try to debate their thought, or someone tries to debate with their thought, you lose because they go on doing the same thing, right? They focus always on the negative. That this kind of thinking.
Okay.
Alright? It's like you go to this big castle, Harry Potter's castle, this big door. You try to open the door, you can't open the door. That's like you trying to debate your thoughts. So we say, why must you go into the castle, the big door? Why can't you go in, maybe go to the back door or smaller door, go to the window? So that's his point.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay.
So if you, as soon as you get the first toxic thought, stop, breathe, focus on the breathing. You will relax. That means move away from your thoughts. Very simple thing to do, very simple principle. And then, if you pass by Buddhist temples, Hindu temples, you find people chanting, right?
Yes.
Mantras.
Yeah.
We have mantra. Our mantra is zikir. Correct? Zikrullah. So as you are breathing, you zikir. Do it when you you're so anxious, you do this kind of thing. Contohnya, as you're breathing in and out, first and foremost, go back, homework, go and do proper breathing. Alright? As you're breathing in and out, dalam hati, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Example. You can do any other thing if you want. So as you're doing that, you're focusing the breathing and you are also doing the zikir. The act of breathing deep and slow itself will relax you, because that is the body's natural way of relaxing. It's the parasympathetic nervous system. Stress breathing is the sympathetic nervous system. Right? So you take charge. Then at the same time you zikir. The zikir itself will calm you down, and the zikir itself will give you the pahala. So why not you killing three birds in one stone? Okay? What's number 5? Okay. Okay, number 1 is exercise, number 2 is doesn't mean that spiritual is number 2 lah. Alright? So spirituality, exercise, meditation, spiritual or structured, join classes. Okay? Tied up to meditation is something called mindfulness. Have you heard of mindfulness?
Mindfulness.
Okay. That means most of the time, all of you included, okay, you answer me honestly. Most of the time, whatever you are doing at whatever point in time, your mind a lot of times is somewhere in the past. You're thinking about something in the past, or you're thinking about something in the future. You're not in the present moment. Mindfulness means being in the present moment. Now, if you teach your mind to be in the present moment all the time, your mind will not be in the future. So if you're not in the future, you're not anxious. Anxiety is about the future. Neither will your mind be in the past. You get depressed. Okay, future and past. Mindful. This is tied up to meditation. So you do mindful breathing. That means as you're breathing, you focus on the breathing, you focus on the stomach, you focus on, you feel the air going in, you feel the air going out, you feel the stomach going up and down. So by using your 5 senses, you anchor your breathing in. During the act of breathing, you focus on all the things that's going on in your breathing. So your mind's got no time to think about all those toxic thoughts. Clear? Okay. 6. Expectations. This is one of the things that, especially the young people now, is have realistic expectations within the context. Doesn't mean that, when I say realistic, doesn't mean that I'm not saying that you don't be ambitious. Okay, because anxiety disorder, anxiety is a penyakit. In Islam recognizes anxiety disorder and depression as penyakit. For example, depression, there is a book called Jangan Bersedih. Have you heard of it? Don't Be Sad. There's a book called Don't Be Sad. I mean, that's popular in Malaysia, so I quoted it. So, depression is recognized as an illness in Islam. Anxiety is recognized as an illness in Islam. Anxiety in Islam is called was-was. That's linked to OCD. For the Islamic aspect, it's iblis and syaitan. Okay? Okay. Your mindset, your thinking patterns, which is that one. So, if any of you have a lot of those kind of thinking patterns in block letters, it's time to do some realignment. Just like you do alignment for your tires in your car. Okay, so okay, when you go back and read all that, you can get from her. You can drop me email. I can send you the soft copy. You can print it out. Okay, so all these thought, if you look at all the thought patterns, they will generate anxiety and depression. So some of you or some of us will have a lot of those things. So you need to do something about it because that will generate the relax your body. Okay. Okay, then number 8, looking at your relationship. So all of us, all of you have different kinds of relationship. Relationship with parents, siblings, teachers, colleagues, friends. So different kind of relationship, right? So if there are problems in your interpersonal relationship, that will of course affect your mental emotional state, obviously. So look at your relationship. But most importantly is your relationship with Allah. Because that is supposed to be your compass. If your compass, like a ship, if there's no compass, you'll be always all over the place. There must be one compass, one direction, one qiblat. So if you keep your relationship with Allah good, everything else will fall in place. And you do that by your salat, you do that by your zikir. But remember, worship is not just semayang and zikir. Worship is also your behavior and your actions. Don't forget that. That's the more subtle, more difficult part. Sometimes what happens when people pray, it becomes a ritual, but it's not reflected in their behavior. Okay, you understand what I mean, right? Okay, this is alright. Now number 9. There are a few others. Number 9, big in Western countries, is pet therapy, for example. Okay, okay, I got a cat. Okay, music, which I like. Music is therapy. So, any of those creative fields, it can be photography, it can be music, pet therapy, it can be pottery, whatever. It's anything that all those creative arts, they're very relaxing, they're very good. So we all have that hobby because, so all the things I mentioned, if you put it in a nutshell, it's called a balanced lifestyle strategies or healthy lifestyle strategies. Now, all the people actually who come from where they're stressed because there's no work-life balance. In your case, work is study. You know? You can't be studying 24 hours a day. You got to have, there must be, when I say work for you is study. Work-life balance. The problem is always there's no work-life balance. Okay. Alright, so any question you want to ask?
I don't think there's anything else. Yes. No, yeah. Complete. Complete.
No, complete on that. He said complete. This kind of talk, normally I give a lecture about 1 hour. Okay, this is a nutshell. Okay, you can keep this.
Do you have like a message for us youngsters out here, considering that you mentioned about how it's plugging the ages, the youngsters on these mental illnesses?
No, I think basically because number 1 is you have your mindset must be in the correct direction. Examine the way you think. So you go back to that, okay, to make it in a practical sense, go through that cognitive distortion, because you always start with your thinking. The way you think results in the way your emotions cannot stand alone. It must come from somewhere. The emotion itself called nerves. Okay, rasa, gelisah, which is anxiety disorder, or we call it kecelara keresahan, kemurungan, marah, hasad, tamak, dengki. These are all nerves. They cannot come from somewhere. Okay, from the Islamic perspective of medicine, in psychology is very much related to spirituality. How does the nerves come about? Remember Surah An-Nas? Bisik-bisik. So all the thoughts that you have, the toxic thoughts, that is the bisik-bisik of the iblis and shaitan. So always go back to your thinking patterns. examine the way you think. That's why we call it muhasabah diri, buat self-reflection. Okay, wait, sorry, you can picture before. Okay. So, self-reflection. If you want a more canggih word, introspection. Have you heard this word? Or muhasabah diri. Examine the way you think, examine your action. If you keep doing that, you correct yourself, then there should not be a problem. But it's an ongoing battle because see, we are all humans. We all become with nafs. We are not malaikat. Malaikat got no nafs. People tak cik lah, dia sembah je. Okay, so kita manusia ada nafs. So when you talk about jihad is an ongoing until you die. Even when you go 6 feet underground, there's still a jihad. You'll be questioned.
Yes.
Alright? Yeah. So when you talk about stress, is managing stress. We don't talk about eradicate. There's not saying eradicate. We manage stress by all these things. But a lot of young people now, I find that they want things too much in a hurry. Yeah. They do not have proper work-life balance. The expectations are not, realistic sometimes. Yeah. And then I think you tend to get stressed easily. You tend to give up easily. And that's a problem. Notwithstanding that, we can also understand the world is actually the pace of change in the world is very rapid. So some people cannot keep up with the pace. Alright? So if you want to keep up with the pace, you build up your resilience. You build up your resilience means practice all the things that we discussed. Don't be inside the roller coaster. You should be outside the roller coaster and looking at the roller coaster. You control the roller coaster. You don't be inside the roller coaster. And remember one thing, okay? Okay, let me tell you this. It's not about all your A's that you get. Now, fine, a lot of people nowadays it's a glut of people who got no jobs. Okay? You can have a high IQ, whatever your IQ. Number one, the IQ is actually it's a misnomer in the sense that it doesn't really reflect true intelligence. It's outdated, okay? You may have a lot of A's, but if your EQ is low, you may not get as far in life as someone else with a lower IQ but higher EQ. Because the world rewards people who are creative, people who are adaptable, people who are flexible. Not necessarily, and this doesn't mean that you have a high IQ. You can have an average IQ, but if you're very creative, you're very flexible, very adaptable, you get on in life much, much further. You also be happier. True. Because you're more flexible, you can think on your feet, you can adapt. If you're so rigid, high IQ but very rigid, obsessive, you cannot, slightest thing you're going to break down. Because things are not going the way you want to. Can things all go the way you want to? Cannot. Right? So in life, especially the current world now, the pace is so fast, you've got to be thinking, adapting all the time. So if 1 + 1 cannot always be 2, that's only in your maths paper. In life, 1 + 1, you need to accept that it has to be 1.8. You have to accept that maybe it has to be 2.1, because that's how life is. And you're not started life yet, okay?
Yes.
So don't ever go into the world with this rigid, how it should be, how it must be. No. Goalposts must be changing all the time. You have to change the goalposts according to circumstances. And if you can do that, you will succeed much further compared to someone with a string of A's.
Yeah, true.
A lot of times the people with the string of A's, they are people who are not flexible, they are very rigid, obsessive. It's okay you're in university, but once you get out of university, what are you going to do? You cannot be like that.
True. So, anything else? I think that's all from us today.
Okay, alright, great.
Answered all our questions.
Answer all the questions, okay, good.
Alright.